All right, welcome back to Atomic Diecast. Today I'm going to revisit my collection from 1977 to 1982. I amassed that when I was a kid. I later added cars to it, but most of them were bought when I was a child, and some of my favorite castings come from that period. Plus, it's been a while since I reviewed one of the older ones. I think the last one I did was a Poison Pinto a couple weeks ago. So I looked over my display case and I bounced around a little bit and I grabbed Funny Money. And I distinctly remember getting this one from Kmart with my grandfather when I was around, I think it was 6 years old, so that would have been 1978. And at the time, it just looked neat. It had this armored car body, it had rivets, it looked tough, and it was, square, kind of stood out. I got the money part of it being a armored car. I did not understand the funny connotation until I got into drag racing later in life. And that's what this car is supposed to depict. Hot Wheels took an armored car, they made it a flip body, they stuffed two blown V8s underneath. And if you're not into drag racing, you don't get the funny tagline. And again, I did when I was 6 years old. So let me kind of explain what that is. Full body top fuel dragsters are known as funny cars. When the experimental class came out in the mid 60s, a guy named Fran Hernandez at Mercury's racing division said they looked funny, and they were. They had flip tops, and they were unique. And that phrase stuck even to this day. At least that's how the story goes. But regardless, they've been called funny cars ever since. And really, the class itself was just an experimental version of super stock cars, except they were fit with nitromethane burning engines. And it took a lot of nerve to drive one. They were a handful. They had a really short wheelbase. They tended to launch violently. And moreover, you were sitting behind a bomb. I mean, these engines blew up a lot. They still do because nitromethane is very volatile stuff. So, Hot Wheels, in 1972, they released this one, and that's a good year. I was born in 72. And of course, that year it was a red line. It came out of Hong Kong. And it was similar to the one you see here. There were some differences, though. First, it had red line wheels. It also had an orange plastic bumper that hung off the front. And I don't know why they put it on there. It kind of ruined the lines of it, I thought, but oh well. And the Tampo was different. It simply had a Funny Money logo on each door. It didn't have any mention of the armored car company like you see on this one. And it didn't make it into the 1973 run. It came back in 1974 in what I thought was a pretty stupid paint scheme. It was a flying colors, and it was done in plum, which is a purple. And it had peace symbols and flowers and just all of this, for lack of a better word, hippie type tampoing. And I guess being a drag car and being funny, it could be anything it wanted to be, but I didn't like it. They also ditched the orange plastic bumper in 74, which I thought was an upgrade. But I did like the card. The card description had a kind of a clever tagline on the back. It said, "The 74 Funny Money is based on a super fast armored car, two balloon big blocks installed. If you're going to rob this thing, good luck." So that was kind of cute. And like I've said before in prior videos, Hot Wheels gets very creative with the card descriptions. They did the same car in 1975, being the plum flower adorned thing, and then they skipped 1976 and it reverted back to the classic gray in 1977. And 77 was the last year of the red lines. The tampos were also changed in 77 to the Brinks lettering, like you see on this one. And interestingly enough, they also did a non-red line black wall in 1977. So 77 was a transition year. Some were red lines, some weren't. I'm pretty certain mine was from 78. They kept the black walled standard Funny Money into 78. And that was the last year of the original run. Now, there's some cool features on these that you'll probably immediately pick up on. One, they had hood scoops sticking out of the front. There's a bank vault door on the back. There's a hole in the roof so you can look down into the roll cage. So I'd say they got pretty creative all around on the model. Now what I'm going to do is stop the video and pop the body so you can see inside. Okay, this gives you a little bit of a view of the interior. It's gray plastic for the motor and the seating area. And there is a roll cage. I don't know if you can see it or not. The top doesn't flip up that high. It's also plastic and it's black. So that's pretty much what became of the original Funny Money run. It ended in 1978. They did retool it in 2008, though, as part of their 40-year set. They did since 68, that same year. They did a convention car in 08. And then in 2009, they did an RLC. They did a Sweet Rides. And I believe, I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure they did a Sweet Rides again in 2010. They definitely did a Clover car that year. And the last time this one was cast was in 2013 as a Looney Tunes model. And that one was pretty distinct. It was green, it had real riders, and the Tasmanian Devil was on the door. So I'm trying to think what else there is to talk about. I think that covers most of it. The model code on the original one, original series that is, was 7621. And I did weigh this car, and as expected, it weighs a ton. It came in at 55 grams, which is the heaviest I've done to date. Okay, let's do a roll test. Again, it weighs 55 grams. You think it would have a lot of momentum behind it, but I looked at the wheels and they're not as straight as I'd like them to be, so maybe it won't. Let's try it out. Roll number 1. Yeah, not good. Didn't make it to 2. Let's try number 2. Yeah, it's pulling to the left, and there's a lot of wheel wobble on this. Try number 3. I don't think it's going to do any better. Hell, it did worse. Didn't make it to 2. So, yeah, a neat, iconic casting that doesn't roll very well, but I still love it. So thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe.